Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a truly epic story, where legendary historical figures and the incredibly dramatic physical landscapes that forge them become completely intertwined. We're heading up into the jagged peaks of the Western Ghats to uncover the legacy of a remarkable ruler and the mighty stone walls of his birthplace. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this with a quote from a recent retrospective on Youth Ki Awaaz, because it just perfectly captures the essence of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. As the second ruler of the massive Maratha Empire, he had to step into the incredibly large shoes of his father, Shivaji Maharaj. But you know, what truly defines Sambhaji Maharaj isn't just his royal bloodline. It's his sheer, unbelievable courage. When he was captured and put through absolute torment by the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, he just didn't break. He flat out refused to abandon his principles, his dharma, or his lifelong vision for Swarajya, self-rule. It's exactly this kind of steadfast, rock-solid leadership in the face of absolute nightmare scenarios that really forces us to pause and think about what true selflessness actually looks like.
Think about this number for a second. 336. It has been exactly 336 years since his ultimate sacrifice. Back on the 11th of March, 1689, at Tuljapur, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj breathed his last. And yet, for over 3 centuries, his legacy hasn't faded even a little bit. Actually, scratch that. It's stronger than ever. If you look at recent films and cultural discussions, the memory of his unparalleled valor is actively inspiring a whole new generation right now. He's remembered as this resolute, uncompromising leader whose sacrifices literally shaped the historical identity of the entire region.
So we know the man, right? We know his incredible ironclad will. But it really makes you wonder, where is a character like that actually forged? What kind of environment births that level of intense resilience? Well, to understand the ruler, we have to understand his roots. We're going to pivot our story geographically and emotionally from the man himself to the towering, rugged stone fortress that first welcomed him into the world.
Let's talk scale for a second, because the geography we are dealing with here is just staggering. Purandar Fort, which was historically known as Indraneel Parwet, absolutely dominates the landscape at a dizzying 1,374 meters above sea level. But it doesn't stand up there alone. It's actually part of a twin fort system. Right next door on the eastern side sits Vajragad, or Rudramal, slightly smaller at 1,347 meters. Located just about 50 kilometers southeast of modern-day Pune, these twin sentinels watch over the Western Ghats like unbreakable guardians. You look at this, and you can immediately see why any strategic military mind would desperately want to control this vantage point.
But before we get bogged down in recorded dates and historic battles, we absolutely have to acknowledge the mythological weight of this location. The local folklore is just fascinating. Legend actually dictates that Purandar isn't just some mountain, it's literally a broken fragment of the Dronagiri Parvat. Yeah, the very same mountain of life-saving herbs that Lord Hanuman carried in the epic Ramayana. It's a brilliant detail, because it shows you that this fort isn't just a military installation to the people there. It is deeply, spiritually embedded in the cultural consciousness of the region. This is sacred ground.
All right, let's transition into Section 1, Early History and Folklore. This mountain has seen centuries of human ambition.
So, tracing this timeline back, the oldest known references pop up around the 11th century under the Yadava dynasty. Flash forward to the 1350s, it falls into the hands of Persian invaders and gets heavily refortified. It basically became a crown jewel for the Bijapur and Amamnagar kings. Then, in 1649, a young Chhatrapati Shiva Maharaj captures it, a massive, critical early victory for the Maratha Empire. As we keep moving down the timeline, we hit the massive Mughal siege of 1665, and eventually, jumping ahead to 1818, the British invasion. Purandar was this constant, shifting prize in an endless tug-of-war for control of the Deccan Plateau.
Now, because these empires wanted to hold on to this fort so desperately, it led to some incredibly dark folklore. During the rule of the Bhavani Sultanate, the fort was besieged over and over again. So, to appease the patron deity and make sure the walls would never fall again, they reportedly performed a terrifying ritual. A man and a woman were buried alive right beneath one of the bastions. And if that's not wild enough, a minister named Yisaji Nayak was ordered to bury his own firstborn son and the boy's mother into the foundation, packing gold and bricks in right alongside them. It is a completely chilling testament to the blood and sacrifice that is woven, quite literally, into the fort's foundations.
Which brings us to Section 2, the Siege of Purandar. This is where we look at the most defining conflict for these walls.
In 1665, things got incredibly intense. The Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb sent a massive force led by Jai Singh and Dilar Khan to take Purnandar, but standing in their way was the fort's keeper, the Maratha commander Baji Deshpande. And the resistance this guy put up? It is the stuff of absolute legend. He defended those walls with a ferocious, almost superhuman intensity against a totally overwhelming Mughal army, ultimately giving up his own life in the struggle. His sacrifice is just this towering example of loyalty and martial skill. You can clearly see echoes of the very same traits that Sambhaji Maharaj would later show to the world.
The defense was valiant for sure, but the cost of peace, unimaginably high. Daunted by the prospect of losing this critical stronghold entirely, Shivaji Maharaj signed the First Treaty of Purandar in 1665, and this treaty forced him to hand over 23 forts, including Purandar itself, along with vast territories to the Mughals. 23 forts! It was a massive strategic sacrifice, completely designed to buy time and protect the core of the Maratha people.
Okay, we've talked about the blood, the treaties, and the legends. Let's shift gears for Section 3, architecture, and take a virtual climb up the mountain.
Let's move to and see how this fortress actually builds into the sky, step by step. You start way down at the base village of Narayanpur, which, miraculously, still houses a 1,000-year-old Yadava-era temple. From there, you climb up to the Maki, which is the sprawling lower plateau of the fort, and finally, if your legs haven't given out, a steep staircase takes you up to the Balekila, the soaring upper fortress. It is a brilliantly designed tiered defense system meant to completely exhaust an enemy before they even get near the main gates.
Breaking down these levels reveals some really key landmarks. Down on the Machi, you'll find the Purandeshwar Temple, dedicated to the fort's patron god. Right near it is a statue honoring Baji Deshpande, forever standing guard right where he fought so bravely. But as you push up and transition to the Bali Killa, boom, you are greeted by the Dili Darwaja. It's this massive, incredibly intimidating entryway to the highest tier of the fort.
And once you are actually inside the Balakila, you instantly understand why this fort was practically invincible. It is surrounded by a sheer, terrifyingly steep drop on 3 sides. An attack from the rear or the flanks? Geographically impossible. And sitting way up in the clouds on this precarious peak is the ancient Kedareshwar Siva temple. It's this breathtaking, crazy combination of formidable natural defenses and peaceful spiritual sanctuary all in one.
But Purandar didn't just freeze in time after the empires fell. Let's look at Section 4, the modern era, and explore its wildly surprising history over the last 2 centuries.
After the British invaded in 1818, the fort's resume gets a little wild. First, it actually became a military sanatorium for British soldiers who just needed fresh mountain air. Then, incredibly, during World War II, it was used as an internment camp for enemy alien families, which even included German Jews seeking refuge. Today, it serves as a training academy for the National Cadet Corps. And in this wonderful, bizarre twist of irony, this ancient, blood-soaked battlefield is now a peaceful hotspot for trekkers and paragliders who are literally soaring off those exact same steep drops of the Balakula.
I have to share this one specific, absolutely fascinating story from that modern era. During its time as a WWI internment camp, a German prisoner named Dr. H. Goetz was held right there within the fort. But instead of just pacing around passing the time, he became entirely captivated by Purandar. He spent his imprisonment meticulously studying every inch of the fort's architecture and history, and he actually went on to publish a comprehensive book about it. It just goes to show how the sheer majesty of Purandar can capture the imagination of literally anyone who walks its grounds, even a prisoner of war.
So, what does this all mean? How do physical structures like these ancient stone walls carry the invisible weight of the sacrifices made by historical giants like Sambhaji Maharaj and Baji Deshpande? The stones themselves might be silent, but they echo with a legacy of unyielding resistance, deep cultural faith, and the ultimate price paid for freedom. Next time you see an ancient ruin, I want you to ask yourself, what invisible weights does it carry? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into history. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.